When my daughter was younger, she had a lot of difficulty in being involved in team sport because she's a kid who does everything with excellence. If there's a mark to be met, she's hitting that mark. And if there's laps to be run, she's running those laps. If there's a catch to be caught, she's catching it. She's very critical of herself. But it has taught her, like, there's something for her that has happened. There's a sense of belonging when you're a part of a team. It's made her more vulnerable and maybe heal in places that she didn't want to even talk about. It has allowed her to just open up and be a part of something bigger. I'm cooking, which I am, but... My husband, Jim, and I are adoptive parents. We adopted 2 of our children from Korea and walked that journey of international adoption. As our kids have grown, we've become more knowledgeable about what happens when things don't go the way that they should for children and how that impacts them and how that then can impact and change your family. Like if you like salmon. This is Lily and Victor would play all day long in a closet. It was like a wardrobe closet in their hotel room. And they would just close the door and play hide and seek. They didn't have language, but like this is him having joy. And it was just running around in that rooftop. When we were adopting, there were moments, despite all of that confirmation, that I myself would get emotional or scared or uncertain and be afraid. Like, is this really what you've called me to do? This room, when we took over this office, which was literally... We essentially created what we did not have as adoptive parents when we wanted to embark on our own adoption journey. There were just gaps in terms of information and a network of support. Miriam's Heart is a grassroots, New Jersey-based nonprofit that radically supports children who've been adopted or placed in foster care and their family. We do this by tangibly meeting needs, meeting emotional needs, protecting, advocating, and speaking out for the needs of children at risk and vulnerable families. We knew that we couldn't be everything to all people. We didn't sense that God was calling us to be an adoption agency. We didn't sense that God was calling us to manage our own fund to be able to fund adoptions. But we knew that families needed access to good agencies and that families needed access to funding. Lifesong has been with us since we founded Miriam's Heart. They answered a problem for us, which was, how are we going to help families fund their adoption?
And so I'm looking at the window, and then all of a sudden I see this little kid just skipping. Just like happy as can be, skipping. That's the first thing I see. And I saw him, and I'm like, that's him. That's my son. And it was just like waterfalls. And he's like, what's wrong? My son. And it was just waterfalls. And he's like, that's my son. That's my son.
Often when people think about children in foster care and vulnerable children in our communities, you'll hear a sentiment that there's not enough services, there's not enough funding, there's not enough support. And I believe that there's more than enough support for children who need help. Having more than enough, it comes from the abundance that comes out of collaboration and organizations working together and locking arms and churches coming alongside. When we all unite around the needs of vulnerable kids and families, we physically become more than enough.